Hello YouTube. Today we are once again here gathered to talk about how shitty Nintendo is being and how their legal team and every part about Nintendo pretty much except for the developers, that make the games are pretty consistently shitty once more. So we have two big topics today. One of them is the Splatoon talk and one of them is custom Etika Joy-Cons. So we'll start with the custom Etika Joy-Cons. Recently, it was brought up that Nintendo has cease and desisted the sale of custom Etika Joy-Cons made for charity. Now, this actually happened back in December, but it was recently brought into public view as part of this whole free melee movement. If you don't know what the free melee movement is, check out my past video. There's lots of videos on the subject. Moving on. Now, this entire store was shut down, and some people might be like, okay, well, he shut down, they cease and desisted someone selling custom Joy-Cons. But the absurd thing is that they specifically targeted this guy's store because of these Joy-Cons. Again, if you don't know who Etika is, he was a big creator, a big fan of Nintendo, and he unfortunately committed suicide summer 2019, and his fan base basically used to go by the name of Joy-Con Boys, and that's what these Joy-Cons had on them. They had custom art and said Joy-Con Boys, and he basically bought Joy-Cons and then painted that on them with a custom color. And these were specifically targeted in Nintendo's cease and desist letter. Now, that's pretty scummy normally, but what makes this even worse is that all the proceeds from these Joy-Cons went to charity. So they're literally stopping charity made to the fans of a creator that committed suicide, a fan base literally in mourning, just because they can. Yes, is it legally in their right to stop this? Yes, it is. Technically, it is in their right. Is it still an extremely shitty thing to do? Hell yes. It's honestly it's just kind of appalling. It's crazy to see how insanely awful they've been. Just speak about Joy-Cons. Just saying Joy-Cons, in my mind, the first thing that goes to my mind is that getting finger cramps because the Joy-Cons are too small. And the second thing is that they start drifting after a couple months. Because, apparently, according to Nintendo, that is not a thing that happens. Joy-Con drift is not a real problem. But according to me, I've had 5 Joy-Cons and they all start to drift. And now it's going to be associated with a third thing, with Nintendo shutting down these basically charity custom painted Joy-Cons, along with the rest of this guy's store. Now, some people have said that this guy sold more than the Joy-Cons and so on. I personally still think that it's really shitty. I don't think Nintendo should be going out of their way to stop people from selling custom painted controllers in the first place, especially since they buy the controllers from Nintendo and then they paint over them. But regardless, this is just one in the line of many, many other things. Secondly, we have the main topic of today's video, which is the free Splatoon movement and the Splatoon controversy that Nintendo did. So after the last couple weeks where they have been shutting down Melee tournaments and Ultimate tournaments, most notably the Big House tournament, and also been contacting other people about doing the same. The Splatoon community had a Nintendo ran tournament, right? Splatoon and ARMS are really the two communities that actually get some kind of support from Nintendo. Now, this support has been exaggerated by many. Apparently, if you don't get first place, the best price you would get is a $25 gift card for the Nintendo eShop. Which they often did not even pay out. So it's not like Nintendo is bringing out the big bucks for Splatoon or anything. But, they had run some events. They'd done some stuff. But yeah, because everything with the free Melee community happened, the Splatoon community was understandably also very upset, despite getting some support from Nintendo. And many of these top teams in the North American tournament added hashtag free Melee tags to their tournament tags, to their team names. And what did Nintendo do in response to this? Right? What is the reasonable thing to do when someone just puts a hashtag free Melee name in their tag? They shut down first the stream of the tournament, right? Their PR answer was, due to unexpected executional challenges, we have canceled the live stream for tomorrow's event. And this was later confirmed to be purely from Nintendo, not from any of the TOs, not from the streamers or anything. They were forced to stop running these events. What then happened was kind of amazing. I mean, first off, big shout out to the Splatoon community for standing up for #FreeMelee and Save Smash, and just standing up for what Nintendo's been doing to their community for all these years, despite them actually benefiting somewhat from Nintendo. But what then happened was that the top 4 teams from Splatoon, the 4 best teams, they all decided to, hey, let's drop out. These teams were obviously all big Melee and Smash supporters, so they all decided to drop out due to unforeseen executional challenges with entering tomorrow's event. Sadly, they gave up the whooping $25 gift card that they could have won, and maybe a copy of ARMS if they were lucky enough to win first place. But what then happened was amazing. Endgame TV decided to run a on-the-spot makeup tournament. They created a top 4 bracket runoff held on the same day that this tournament was supposed to happen. Streamed, professionally commentated, everything. And then coupled with that, they also had a community-raised prize pool. And this prize pool, in the span of maybe 15 hours from the point that Nintendo took down the tournament to when the tournament finished, reached $28,000. 25,000 of those went to the teams, the top 4 teams that dropped out, and then the rest went to charity. And you saw a lot of people support the Squid House, as it's called, Squid House. Obviously a homage to the Big House. I mean, I donated. I saw Mango, I saw Void, I saw The Buzz, I saw tons of different Smashers. I personally watched the Splatoon clips, and my God, that game is hectic as all hell. But the commentators do an absolutely amazing job keeping you entertained anyway. The comparison I use is basically, if you ever watched Dota and you heard OD Pixel or a Dota, you play-by-play commentator, you just go absolutely ham, just, spamming words whenever there's a team fight. It's like that, but it's like the entire match due to the respawn timers being so short. It's super hectic gameplay. It was a really great event, and it was honestly amazing to just see how much everyone came together and supported, both the Smash scene, obviously, because they supported us, but also just the Splatoon community. It was a really, really great time. And I'm happy that some of the most dedicated Splatoon players got a little payday as well. That's really just a recap of what happened. Now, my personal feelings on the thing is that, I mean, I'm not surprised by Nintendo doing any of this, right? I don't think anyone that's been around long enough is surprised by Nintendo's legal department just being absolutely awful to their most dedicated fans. And yes, I'm not saying that they're not legally allowed to do this. Yes, they are legally allowed not to run a stream for a Splatoon tournament for any reason. But the reasons why they do it is just so ridiculous. And I honestly think that much of this is just backfiring on them. Why would they ever... If this Splatoon tournament had run normally, it would not have been a big deal. There would have been people that had free Melee or Melee in their tags, and maybe the commentators would have mentioned it, but it would have been a big deal. Now we had one of the biggest Splatoon tournaments made out of nowhere, a huge social media buzz, simply because they were stupid enough to try to censor people. It's called, I think, the Streisand effects, where something becomes more famous after you try to shut it down, after you try to hide it from becoming big. And yeah, I think it's cool to see that people are still really passionate about it, and it's awesome to see that the Splatoon community stuck up for what is right. But man, I am so tired of Nintendo at this point. I am so goddamn over this company. When will they stop? This isn't even good for them either. They're not winning anything by running from any kind of dedicated community. They're not winning anything from shutting down tournaments just to protect their IP in case they look shitty or whatever. They're looking shitty right now, and they're not getting anything from it. If you run a tournament and there's a risk that things go badly, that you look a little bit off, you know what? At least you got a lot of positive press for every tournament that doesn't do badly, which is the far majority. Now they just look like assholes for no benefit at all. And yeah, I can't wait until another game comes out, another great fighting game comes out, so that we can support them instead of supporting Nintendo. I mean, I'll continue to make Smash content because I love the games, but I'm looking for any reason whenever I'm buying something to not buy a Nintendo product at this point. You don't have to do the same. I understand if you still love the games, of course. But maybe, you know, think about buying used next time. Think about, if you have the choice, which one would you rather buy? Support a company to support their community, or one that actively tries to destroy their most dedicated fans? That's really all I have to say. We have a lot more content coming up. We're going to have a full podcast coming out as well, where me, Mango, and Zane talk more about this. And I have a Smash documentary coming up. So make sure to subscribe, like the videos and such. You know, all that stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Will I play chess with TSM Hikaru? If he will have me. I mean, he's a TSM freshman. I gotta teach him the ropes, man. I'll teach him the ropes of being a professional esport athlete, how to wear your jersey without smelling. And he can teach me a thing or two about that old ass game chess.